What happens when someone tries to revise the history of your people? This is something that Ashkenazi Jews face due to a false but oft-repeated academic theory about their ancestral origin. What is this debunked origin story? Why are some people sharing it? And what does it say about Ashkenazi Jews and, more importantly, those who are spreading disinformation about them? First, some necessary background info. The two largest communities or denominations within Judaism are Sephardim and Ashkenazim. Today's Sephardim, or Sephardic Jews, are the descendants of the Jews who arrived on the Iberian Peninsula after the Babylonian and Roman exiles, before fleeing to southern Europe, the Balkans, and North Africa after the Alhambra decree, a record that is not contested. Ashkenazim, or Ashkenazi Jews, are those whose ancestors arrived in the Danube Valley and Rhineland areas after the Roman exile, with some accounts dating as far back as 321 CE, but there are some who call these historical events into question. A hypothesis dating back to the late 1800s states that Ashkenazi Jews are all descendants of the Khazars. In the 600s CE, in southeast Russia, a multi-ethnic conglomerate of Turkic people founded a powerful state made up of people from many different ethnicities. This was the kingdom of Khazaria. The theory goes that in the 8th century, the Khazar ruling class converted en masse to Judaism on the instruction of their ruler. According to this line of reasoning, these Jews didn't migrate from Jerusalem and Babylonia into France and Germany, but rather migrated from modern Russia and Ukraine. The lack of proof for the theory hasn't prevented it from catching on with a number of geneticists, historians, linguists, and laypeople. It even has support from academics at universities in Tel Aviv and Sheffield, England. The problem is that the kingdom of Khazaria was destroyed sometime in the late first millennium, and the next time we have records of Jews in that area, today's Western Ukraine and Belarus, is over 400 years later. Additionally, DNA tests have shown a close relationship between Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews, as well as a connection to other Middle Eastern people, but no connection between Ashkenazi Jews and the Khazars. The Khazar theory is also dead on arrival from a linguistic perspective. The main language of the Ashkenazi Jews, Yiddish, shows no trace of Turkic origin. Yiddish is considered a Germanic language, with Hebrew and Aramaic words thrown in. As the Yiddish linguist and author Alexander Bieder puts it, the personal names and surnames borne by Jews in Eastern Europe during the last 6 centuries, as well as the Yiddish language as a whole, do not contain any link to Khazaria. So, who's pushing this theory? Well, certain academics, for one. Their hypothesis got a big bump in 1976 when a writer and amateur anthropologist named Arthur Koestler published the now-debunked book, The 13th Tribe. Koestler thought that by proving Ashkenazi Jews were actually more European than Semitic, it would upend the foundations of European antisemitism. Ironically, Koestler's claims only served to feed antisemitism by accidentally resurrecting a theory that would only go on to serve the interests of bigots and the uninformed. After its publication, supporters expounded upon his claims even further, while detractors called it anti-Semitic. But why would the hypothesis be anti-Semitic instead of just another scholarly theory? It makes more sense when you look at some of the recent supporters of the theory, especially those outside of academia. These include online commenters, who use it to delegitimize the Jewish people by classifying them as a fake nation, and even political leaders like the Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas. In a 2018 speech delivered to the Palestinian Liberation Organization's legislative body, Abbas quoted Koestler and his theory that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from the Khazars, not the biblical Israelites. The allure of the hypothesis to someone like Abbas is clear. It delegitimizes Jewish claims on the land of Israel. If Ashkenazim came from what's now Russia, then the assertions of an ancestral nationhood in the ancient land of Israel are easily dismissed. Too bad for Abbas that the science is not on his side, and that the genetic findings of Ashkenazi Jews point to people of Middle Eastern origin, not Turkic or Russian. It's also worth stating that the theory, and the subsequent not your land accusations thrown at Jews, completely discounts Sephardi and other Jewish communities, and makes it seem as if Ashkenazim and Ashkenazim alone are the only Jews, which is of course preposterous. It's not a stretch to say that throughout the centuries, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, and racist tropes have followed a similar path. Unfounded ideas that gain a foothold because they serve the interests of anti-religious bigotry, claims of genetic superiority, and political ostracism. It's always fun to learn about conspiracy theories. Sure, everyone loves believing that Tupac is still alive, that there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll, or that the moon landing was nothing but a Stanley Kubrick short film. But let's remember that they are just that, conspiracy theories. They're an entertaining showcase of the human imagination, but to take them seriously without doing some research, not a good look. Ashkenazi Jews are definitely Jews, despite any debunked hypotheses that claim otherwise. In a world with limitless information at our fingertips, it's our responsibility to be informed consumers and to make an effort to sort out fact from fiction. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing here, consider subscribing. And if there's something you want to see us tackle in an upcoming video, be sure to let us know in the comments below.